Oh, the science of sound. They call the Seattle Seahawks fans at Phil CenturyLink Field the 12th man because, well, they make the most noise in the NFL. But it's not actually the fan base, though. It's the way the stadium's built and the overhangs that cover the field. Just imagine if the Eagles fans filled that thing. It'd be twice as loud. And those Cowboys, they're in action tonight. I can feel the Romophobia kicking in. Another divisional crown is in sight. I can taste the rainbow. Mike Owens is here. I'm Adrian Fedque. Mike, are you worried about that Seattle defense on Sunday?
Yeah, maybe.
What about Marshawn Lynch?
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think LaShawn McCoy's lost the step?
Probably not.
Mike, if you keep giving me one-word answers, I'm going to have to start handing out fines. Can you snap out of it already?
Oh, oh, wow. Boy, I was in beast mode. It was just a whole another world. It was insane. There was just a bunch of Skittles. Everybody was just eating Skittles during a football game too. I've never seen anything like it. But that's what beast mode does. And I'm back. You got me out of beast mode, thank God. But yeah, it's time to talk about football now. Let me take off my beast mode headphones here and get on my real Eagles apparel for the show.
Oh, man. Huge game coming up on Sunday. Um, this is a big-time test because Seattle Seahawks, obviously defending champions. And the Eagles, well, they still have a lot to prove within the NFC. A lot of people are still, questioning this team, whether or not they're legit or not. They've, lost some games on the road to some higher competition, lost to San Francisco. They've lost to Arizona. But now is like a really, it's a challenge and it's it could be a statement game for Philly on Sunday. Seattle 8-4 coming in. Eagles coming off that Turkey Day beatdown of Dallas, finally getting a big road win against a top tier NFC team, and now you got Seattle coming in, and this is a huge game, not only for bragging rights and to see a proof statement game, but home field advantage could be on the line. A first round bye could be on the line.
Yeah, I'm back here. Now I have the right apparel on. I've got my bird beak ready to go. I'm ready to peck away at Marshawn Lynch. So, as you were talking about, huge game ahead here for the Philadelphia Eagles. And, some people may say that, oh, this may be a game that the Eagles may afford to be able to lose. But really, we were talking before the show. It's actually maybe a game that they can't afford to lose because Arizona Cardinals are free falling right now. They've got a ton of injuries, and there's a good chance that they might not win that division. And there's a great chance that the Seahawks win that division. So if the Seahawks win that division, then pretty much this game is for seeding in the playoffs. So Eagles, we've already lost to the Packers, which is going to kill us with the seedings, and can't afford to lose this one.
Yeah, this is huge in that sense because you look at Seattle, they're 8-4, and we don't want to go to Seattle in a divisional round game. Say they win this game, they win the division, they're probably most likely they might get the 2 seed in the NFC. So it's like, and Arizona, you just said it, all the injuries they have, and if you look at their schedule down the stretch, it is absolutely brutal. We might actually want Arizona to win on Sunday, depending on the outcome of this game. I mean, it's insane right now. Arizona, it had a stranglehold within the NFC West, and now it's like they might not win a game for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy turn of events here. But what I think is pretty wild is, that we're sitting here beginning of December talking about the Eagles going for the number 2 seed in the NFC playoffs. And before the season, I mean, the realistic expectations were that the Eagles would probably win 9 or 10 games this year, and I mean they've far exceeded that. I mean we're pretty far beyond here in the Chip Kelly program than we ever imagined at this point. We really thought that maybe next year or the year after would be the year, but you know, I'll tell you what that win against Dallas did for me. It showed that if the Eagles are capable to put a string of games together like that Dallas game, then they have a realistic shot to go deep in the playoffs.
We saw earlier this season, the Eagles were winning games, but they weren't exactly playing great football. Offensive line wasn't together yet. LaShawn McCoy wasn't going yet. A lot of inconsistency, a lot of turnovers. But right now, it seems like, they're peaking at the right time. Offensive line's healthy again. LaShawn McCoy's getting going. And, they're still settling for field goals in the red zone, but they're scoring a lot of points right now. Defense is playing outstanding. I mean, the emergence of Fletcher Cox the last, month, I mean, he's been great all year long, but the last month he's been outstanding. Connor Barwin's emerged this season. I mean, they're hitting on all cylinders right now, and quite frankly, them winning out is not an unrealistic, thing.
No, I mean it's really not. You look at really the next 2 games are the ones that they could lose here against Seattle and Dallas. But really, I feel like this Seattle game is the big one because if they can get past Seattle, then there's a possibility that Dallas game could be for the NFC's title for the Eagles. So there's be no way that they lose that game. So really, this Seattle game is a one, and it's really going to present a great challenge for this Eagles offense because everyone knows going into this game that this is really going to be a matchup of the best defense in the NFL against arguably the best offense in the NFL.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see if the Eagles can really get the running game going again. The Seattle defense is pretty stout against the run. They've had some bad games this year where DeMarco Murray went off on them, Jamal Charles went off on them, but they have a guy named Bobby Wagner back playing middle linebacker for them again. He's among the best linebackers in the NFL. And I'm really curious to see how the Eagles can play because the teams that have had success against the Seahawks are a lot like the Eagles, running the stretch plays, running along the boundary, making them run sideline to sideline. I think they're a much better defense playing between the tackles, stopping the power run game as opposed to, the stretch finesse game. And this is, the way their defense plays, yeah, it's great. Their defense is very stout in tackling. They're very fundamentally sound. But I think it can be had somewhat. I don't think McCoy's going to get bottled up too much. I think he can get going a little bit, and points are going to be scarce in this one. But I think the Eagles can get some ground game going.
Yeah, well, I said this before the Cowboys game. I thought a big factor was going to be how the Cowboys defense is going to be able to handle the Eagles' up-tempo offense. Now, boy, it turned out that the Cowboys defense, they were gassed. I mean, you saw a guy like Jason Witten yelling on the sideline. A guy you usually don't see yelling, but they were just mad at each other. You had Des Bryant trying to coach up the defense. I mean, it was laughable. But that's what it was the fastest the Eagles have run their offense all season. And, I mean, Sanchez can do that. He can run this offense at a very fast pace. So I'm interested to see, again, how this Seahawks defense is going to be able to combat with that, because it's been a real issue for every team this season. And the thing here that could be an advantage for the Eagles is that the Seahawks don't have the depth along that defensive line like they've had in the past. So this could be a game where the Eagles, if maybe they can take even that up-tempo offense to another level, and if they can do that, I think that it could, pose a challenge for the Seahawks.
Yeah, Seattle's defense ranked fifth in the NFL, 86.3 yards allowed per game on the ground, 3.5 yards per carry. So again, very stout against the run, but again, I think they can be had. This is where this is where I want to talk about the sports science thing, because I think there's something to this. You see how fresh the Eagles are when they're, you said like Dallas was gassed. It's because the Eagles are in better shape than everybody else. These teams, they're tired. A lot of them are banged up. It's late in the season now, and when you talk to a lot of the Eagles players, they'll tell you, Malcolm Jenkins, he'll tell you, I've never felt this great, this late in the season. Brent Selleck said the same thing last year. These guys, it's almost like the Eagles are playing earlier in the season, like they're in that kind of shape, and everybody else is, banged up and, tired and got to fight through the pain. But the Eagles, they're ready to go.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, because watching the Eagles, last year under Chip Kelly and watching them again this year, I kind of feel like they actually almost get off to a slower start, because I feel like the way that they train, it's so intense early on in the beginning that they're actually tired. But in the long run, what the training actually does is it prepares them for these games down the stretch. And you look at last year, I mean, after the Eagles got blown out by the Broncos, they went on a huge run to end the season, and as of right now, they just recently suffered a huge loss to the Packers, and ever since then, they've been on the roll. So I think that there's definitely, something to say about the sports science. It's definitely paying off. Whatever Chip Kelly is putting in his smoothies down there at the NovaCare complex, it's working out, because the Eagles' offense they're just tiring out these opposing teams' defenses.
Yeah, and obviously the key to the game is going to be running the ball against the Seattle front seven, because the secondary is by far the best in football. Richard Sherman is in a class of his own. I mean, he's not mediocre, that's for sure. Byron Maxwell is on the other side. He's a pretty good cornerback as well. And then obviously your safeties, Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. I mean, they outstanding. The Legion of Boom. So McCoy's got to get going. Macklin, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with him. Chip Kelly has said he's not going to shy away from throwing the ball at Sherman. But Macklin is a guy that's lined up in the slot 21.4% of snaps. So I would expect a little bit more of that come Sunday, because I think the slot corners are where you're going to have to attack. I look for Jordan Matthews to have a game. Their slot cornerback, I'm not sure if they're going to start Jeremy Lane or not. Lane is a guy that's missed 9 games this year due to a groin injury. He came back against the Giants in Week 10, but he's now battling a glute issue, a ass issue, a glutamus maximus issue. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays or not, because I think they can be had in the slot. Now another thing, I brought this up before, that they are very good at tackling, and they're very fundamentally sound. Watch that, Super Bowl against Denver. Those little wide receiver flip screens, they weren't working against Seattle, because they limit you to 2 to 3 yard gains. This Eagles offense, the screens, they can work against anybody else, but I don't think it's going to work against Seattle. You got to run the ball, and you got to find a way to utilize Matthews in the slot, I think, to win this game. I think they're going to get shut down, really.
Yeah, I think that this game, the Eagles are really going to have to rely on McCoy and the running game. Obviously, you're going to have to get Sproles in there. You're going to have to get Polk going. They're going to have to do everything they can to get that running game going because I don't think they're going to be able to pass the ball too much. And this is a game that concerns me with the way that Chip Kelly has kind of been calling the plays with Mark Sanchez at quarterback, minus the Dallas game. Really, he's kind of thrown the ball a lot with Mark Sanchez, a lot more than I would like. So I feel like if Sanchez gets in a situation where he's thrown the ball 40 times this game, that it could be a real issue. I mean, Sanchez could end up with 3 or 4 interceptions. This is not a game where we want Sanchez to be throwing the ball. This is a game that's really built for McCoy. Even if the running game is not working, I feel like they're just going to have to keep pounding away, and hopefully eventually they can, tire that defense down, and it'll work in the third and fourth quarters. If they're going to throw the ball with Sanchez, I really feel like they've been playing the best this season. So got to keep it on the ground. I don't want to go near Sherman at all.
Yeah, definitely not. The guy allows, I believe it's 1 reception per 17.4 snaps. That's the best in the league. Opposing quarterbacks have a rating of, I believe I saw it was 49.8 against them. That's third best in the NFL. So this guy is, outstanding. He backs up his talk. He's a guy that likes to talk. He's got a big mouth, likes calling receivers mediocre, but he's really good at what he does. He's an athletic specimen, and not only is he a great athlete, he's a very smart guy. He has the dreads, and he's got you would think looking at him, he might not be the smartest guy, but this guy's very, very intelligent. So he knows how to play the position. Yeah, he's very, very good. So you got to stay away from him. But at the same time, it's like you do want to keep them honest because you don't want to make everything predictable because the Packers tried this week 1 of the season. They just basically they didn't even throw on his side. They just stuck on the other side of the field. They were playing offense on one half of the field, and when you play like that, you're limiting the space on the field. And we know Chip, he likes to utilize every single inch of the football field. So I can see why he wants to challenge Sherman. Now I don't think he's going to be stupid and challenge him a lot, but I think you got to keep him honest and throw the ball at him. I mean, it will make us cringe, but you gotta spread the wealth.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. I don't think that they can go into the game where they're afraid to throw the ball to Sherman's side. I mean, they've got to take some shots at him and really just hope for the best. Like we're talking about here, all the different aspects of this game. I think that it's just a really intriguing matchup. The Eagles' offense going against this Seattle defense. I mean, honestly, I can't predict what's going to happen because, I mean, I don't know. Anything could happen, really. It's really going to be, can Chip Kelly come up with a plan to solve that, Seattle defense? It kind of reminds me of the Super Bowl last year. You had the Broncos, this great offense, Peyton Manning, and the Seahawks just absolutely shut them down. So we're going to have to see if Chip Kelly can come up with a plan to, defeat that defense.
Yeah, I mean, their defense, when you look at it, it is very, very vanilla. It's not like anything that's that complex or anything. It's just how fundamentally sound they are. I can't stress enough how good of a tackling team they are. They do have some good team speed, They will, swarm to the ball carrier. I mean, like LaShawn McCoy might struggle. There's no denying that. But I think you got to keep plucking away. You can't, stop the run. And Chip's not a guy that's going to stop running the ball. He's not like Andy Reid. If it doesn't work for a quarter, he's not going to throw it away for the rest of the game. And McCoy, I'm really curious to see if he's going to, break that record, the Eagles' rushing record. on Sunday. I believe what is it? Is it 68 yards, 65 yards? I forget off the top of my head now.
Yeah, it's somewhere in that range. He's gonna be close because there's not gonna be many places to run against this Seattle defense. I think that he'll get it, but it's gonna be tough. Really, for McCoy to get going, this is gonna have to come down to our offensive line again. Now, our offensive line probably played their best game of the season against the Cowboys here. You can really see that Mathis and Kelsey are starting to get that chemistry again. You're starting to see Kelsey down the field making blocks like we're accustomed to. And the offensive line is definitely going to have to continue that success if they want to have any success against this Seattle defense.
Yeah, yeah, great point there. Can't stress it enough. Kelsey and Mathis, they're back. They're back, guys. It took them a couple weeks to get going because coming back from injuries, they missed like 6 to 8 weeks of football. So you're not just going to come back and like be who you were initially. It takes some time to get your legs underneath you, to get the endurance back. To gain. They were rusty coming back. I mean, it was evident, and they're playing outstanding right now. Kelsey, 20 yards downfield on those pull sweeps, back to being Jason Kelsey. So, I love the way they're playing up front, and I'm really intrigued by this game because this is like there's no defense better in the NFL that can stop this offense because I see a lot of the same things with Chip Kelly in terms of how they play in terms of like what Denver did last year in the Super Bowl. A lot of short passes. It's a lot. They get a lot of yards after the catch, but Seattle limits the yard after the catch better than any defense in the NFL by far. I mean, that's how good of a tackling team they are. So I mean, I can't wait. I think this is a game where we can almost if the Eagles struggle in the red zone, we can't even really take it seriously because we know they're going to struggle in the red zone against this defense. It's going to be a lot of field goals in this game. They're probably not going to be a lot of touchdowns. So, it's a game where the first team to 20 points wins.
Yeah, you talk about the red zone, and it's kind of ironic because the Eagles have had problems scoring in the red zone all season, and Seattle has had problems stopping people in the red zone all season. Actually, the weakest part of the Seattle defense is their red zone defense. I believe they're ranked near the bottom of the league, 28th, I believe, in red zone defense. So this is really, if the Eagles want to win this game, honestly, when they get in the red zone, they're going to have to score touchdowns. I feel like if the Eagles start to settle for a lot of field goals, they're not going to win this game. They're really going to need to punch in every opportunity that they get down in the red zone.
That's funny because I think Parkey's going to kick a lot of field goals, and I think that the Eagles are going to win. I'm already giving away my prediction.
Nah, I mean, I hope you're right. I mean, if he kicks like 5 field goals, then yeah, he might have a shot.
That's pretty much what I'm thinking. Like 4 field goals. All right, so let's talk about our defense now because this defense, I made a video earlier this week. They need some more respect. Respect the defense. This is a D that's allowed one 100-yard rusher all season, and Marshawn Lynch is a guy that can definitely go over 100 against us. So while I'm talking about this, I'm giving praise to the defense. I think this is a very, very tough matchup for them. And I am just petrified for Casey Matthews. I don't know how he's going to stop Marshawn Lynch. I don't know how he's going to stop him. I don't see it. He's going to get in the hole and he's going to get trucked over. I just can see it already. So they have a dual threat. You got Russell Wilson. He's going to keep it on the zone read, and what that does is when he goes outside along the perimeter. It stretches the defense out a little bit, and that opens up the middle for Marshawn Lynch. And obviously, he's a guy that's great in between the tackles. And if you can beat this Eagles defense, that's where it is. The power running game, running in between the tackles. Frank Gore is the only guy that's run for over 100 yards against us. And San Francisco, they got a lot of the same, power running game that Seattle does. Pounding it down your throat, right between the tackles. Stuff like that. So I have a feeling that Lynch is going to go over 100 yards. This could be the second time this season that the Eagles have allowed one. And, I really see him having a big day. It's just I don't see anything else really happening on that Seattle offense because their receivers are shit. As bad as our corners are, their receivers are just as bad. So, stopping the run is going to be very, very important. I just don't think they're going to stop it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that Beast Mode is in for a big day. They can really exploit through the middle of that Eagles defensive line because the Eagles they have pretty athletic group, so they're good against teams that like to run the stretch play and run outside, but big powerful backs that like to run inside could pose a problem. I mean, we even saw Eddie Lacy. I mean, the Packers didn't have to run the ball that much against us, but when Lacy got the ball, I mean, he was just bulldozing right over us. So definitely could be a problem. The one thing that the Eagles, do have going for them here is you can go back and look at that San Fran game. We really struggled, but that game we didn't have Kendricks in.
Yeah.
And this game we will have Kendricks, and I think that having Kendricks and Barwin on the field at the same time is going to be beneficial in slowing down Russell Wilson a little bit. I think he's a guy that we can maybe contain a little bit. I still think he's going to, have his athletic plays, but I think we can limit him a little bit with having both Barwin and Kendricks on the field at the same time.
Yeah, and what you're going to see out of Barwin is probably the same thing that they did against Carolina. Have Barwin kind of spy Wilson a little bit, and stop him when he does run the zone read. So I expect a lot of that, and Wilson's a guy that keeps a play alive better than any quarterback in the league right now. He'll have like two guys around him. He'll like spin out of it. And he'll always keep his eyes downfield, and he'll find somebody. So when they do get pressure on him, you got to bring him down. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, you said it right there. That's the biggest thing about Wilson is that he keeps his eyes down the field the whole time. He's not a quarterback that when he scrambles outside the pocket that's looking to run, really. He's looking to keep his eyes down the field, and he's trying to find someone open before he takes off and runs. So, like you said, Eagles really got to do a nice job of wrapping up and tackling and make sure that he can't make those explosive plays.
Now, the Seattle offensive line isn't the greatest thing in the world. They've allowed, I believe, 36 sacks in the season. The Eagles have 42 on the year, which is second in the NFL. So, I think it's going to be very, very important for the Eagles to get off to a nice start again like they did against Dallas. You get up like 14-0, get up like, 14-10 or 17-6, something like that. I don't know why I said 14-10. That's not a good start. But, get a double-digit lead. So you make Russell Wilson have to throw the ball. And then once they have to throw the ball, you attack them, you bring the blitzes, you bring the pressure. Because if the game's close, which is probably going to be close, Marshawn Lynch is just going to pound it down your throat. So, got to get the pressure on him. Hopefully get off to that good start.
Yeah, well, that's really when the Eagles play their best. Is when the Eagles get off to a good start. They're tough to beat. So you saw it recently in this Dallas game. Eagles got off to a hot start on offense, and really the defense, fed off of that. And that's really how it really works under Chip Kelly is, hopefully the offense can pick up the defense and fire them up. And, the Eagles are going to need it in this game. Another factor that is, big in this game is really that the game is being played in Philadelphia. If this game was being played in Seattle, I think we would both be feeling not very well about this game. We would definitely be saying that this is going to be a loss. But I think that the game is in Philadelphia. it's definitely an advantage for the Eagles, and they're going to have to, take advantage of that. That's why they're going to have to get out to a fast start, because if they get out to a fast start, they're going to get the crowd into the game, and they're going to need the crowd to stay into the game for the entire game.
Oh, if this game was played in Seattle, we'd have no shot. No chance.
Yeah.
No chance in hell. None. Nada. It wouldn't happen, especially the way Seattle's playing right now. They've won 5 of the last 6 games. They're on fire. They've, recorded a pair of 19-3 victories over the last 2 games. So they're hitting their stride. They're playing really good football right now. And this is why I'm really excited about this game because, we talked about it. Is this Eagles team for real? Lost to Green Bay, lost to San Francisco, lost to Arizona on the road. So now they're playing some better competition. They obviously beat Dallas, so that's one. But although, one team, fuck you, Dallas, doesn't really mean anything. You got to keep winning. You can't just win one game. You got to keep winning. So Seattle is another test, and, hopefully it's another one that they can pass.
Yeah, well, we're talking about trying to get home field advantage here in the playoffs, and well, the Eagles have won 10 in a row at the link, so they've done a great job of protecting their home field recently, and that's why I feel like this is a great test for the Eagles. If they want to continue to protect that home field, they got to come away with really a statement win. This would be.
Oh yeah, huge statement win. Absolutely. And if you win this game, you really put yourself in a prime position to get one of those, top 2 seeds in the conference. There's no doubt in my mind, if they win this game, they're going to get a bye.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, we can start to dream a little bit. I mean, if we're dreaming and everything goes according to plan, say we win out, the Packers lose another game, then we could end up getting the top seed. But that's that's unrealistic. That's not going to happen. So I think we just have to realize that at this point, we're going to have to really try to pin down that number 2 seed. Now, getting the number 2 seed is realistic, but to get that, you're going to have to win this game. So that's why really losing this game, it's really not an option if the Eagles want to get that number 2 seed.
Yeah, and just to show you guys, who Green Bay plays down the stretch, it's Cupcake City. They don't play anybody. So that win against New England, they pretty much locked up the number 1 seed. Let's look at this. They play Atlanta on Monday night, at Buffalo, at Tampa Bay, Detroit at home. They ain't losing any of those games. Now, the only one that can pose a problem is that game in Buffalo. The Packers, as great as they are at home, they are actually just a tad vulnerable on the road. They had to pull one out of their ass to beat Miami. What was the other? They barely beat Minnesota the other week. They won by, 6 points, I think it was. So they can be had on the road. Now, they're not going to lose to Tampa Bay. That's just not happening. But Buffalo, maybe. Just maybe.
Is there any way that we can bring back Michael Vick his old days with the Falcons for that Packers game on Monday Night Football?
No. Giving you one-word answers like Marshawn. No.
That's
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, the Buffalo game is really the one to watch out for. That's the one that they could possibly lose. And Buffalo right now is really fighting for a playoff spot in the AFC, so they're going to have a ton to play for. So that'll definitely be a great game to watch. But as of right now, the Eagles got to take care of their own business, and they've got to worry about the Seahawks first.
Since we're on this subject, there's a guy that I want to blame for all this because, he continues to haunt Philadelphia, even though he's not even on our team anymore. And I'm talking about you, Alex Henry. Detroit right now is what? Are they tied with? No, they're a game back of the Packers in the division. Now, if Detroit finishes a game behind them, It's all Alex Henry's fault. Everything. He boinked that game he had against Buffalo was absolutely atrocious. He boinks one off the post. He has two that he hooked the shit out of. It looks like one of my drives off the first tee, and I don't even hook it that bad. So it was just awful, that game that he had. And his kicks are going to come back to haunt us again. The guy just can't stay away.
All you can do is shake your head. Freaking Alex Henry. If he comes back to haunt us, oh, yeah, that would be freaking frustrating. But it's probably going to happen because, Green Bay's going to probably end up winning that division by like one game. And, man.
Yeah, shenanigans. All right, so back to this game. I guess we can offer some predictions now of the contest. I think I guess we could talk about special teams a little bit because they can provide a game switching point of the game because we know that Eagles special teams the best in the league this year. Maybe Darren Sproles can return one. Not only just return one, maybe even just get a big punt return that puts the Eagles in position to score some points. So, like once again, special teams that gets overlooked in our show. I don't know why we keep doing it. We always bring it up at the end. But, it's been a vital part of our team this season. I've said it. The 10 non-offensive touchdowns this year. And some of that has to do with Sproles. Some of that, Chris Polk returned one. Josh Hush returned one on a kickoff. So this is a team that can hit one deep on one of those returns, and that would be great to have against Seattle.
No, you're right. I mean, if you can get, one of those home runs on special teams, it can really make a difference in a game like this. So if Sproles can break one or even get a big gain on the return, get us in great field position. That would really be huge. Actually, this is a game. The Eagles brought in, Chris Maragos in the offseason, and he's going to be facing his former team. So, Maragos has been huge for the Eagles this year on special teams. So that'll be nice for him to play his former team. But yeah, you can't say enough. You look at. Parkey, he's been doing an unbelievable job. And then you even got a punter too. You got Donnie Football back there who always comes up with a big punt. So, this is a special teams unit. It's just an all-around great special teams. And not many teams can say that. Usually special teams is a weak point for a lot of teams. But for the Eagles, it's a huge strength.
Yeah, very huge strength. And it's something that Chip, takes very seriously. A lot of coaches will overlook special teams, but Chip's always been a guy that takes it very seriously, especially after last season, how putrid this unit was. I mean, Alex Henry missing field goals. The return game was just atrocious. Couldn't kick the ball into the end zone. Teams would come back. That the Saints game in the playoffs, our special teams was the reason why we lost that game. Sproles returned the kick back to like the 40 or something yard line, and all Breeze had to do was complete a couple of passes, and they were in field goal range. So, huge part of our success this season has been the special teams. So there you go. That has to do with that. All right. So prediction time for the game. I said this last week. I felt good about the Eagles going into Dallas, except I didn't pick them to win. Because my realistic, non-biased, side kicked in. I was just like, they're not going to win out. So I'm just going to pick them to lose. So this week I'm a little bit smarter. I'm bought in. I'm all in now. I love the way this team's playing, and quite frankly, I'm predicting it right now. I think they're going to win out. I think Alex. Oh God, I almost called Cody Parkey Alex Henry. Wow. I should be fined for that. I should be fined. Okay.
You should be banned.
I should be banned. Yeah, so I got the Eagles winning this game. I got Cody Parkey kicking 5 field goals. Eagles will only score one touchdown, but 5 field goals will be the difference. Parkey kicks one late to win it. I got the Eagles 22-20.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, I've got a tight one too, and this is my prediction. I think that Eagles are going to be up by 7 points late in the game. Russell Wilson is going to lead the Seahawks down the field for a game-tying touchdown, and he's going to leave the Eagles with about, I'd say, like 40 seconds left in the game.
Mm.
Eagles are going to get a kickoff return to about the 35-yard line. And then,
Not the 36, the 35?
No, 35.
35, okay.
Then they're going to march down the field, and they're going to have just enough time for a 57-yard Cody Parkey field goal. And he's going to do it. He's going to make a 57-yarder, and the Eagles are going to win as time expires.
So we both got a kick at the end, except mine's not going to be from 57. I'll say 37.
Okay.
You got a score? You got a score?
I'll say 23-20 Eagles.
All right. So we're pretty much right on point there. I got 22-20, you got 23-20. Better birds, great minds, we think alike.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a great game. I mean, I got to tell you, so we played last Thursday, and now we're a week later. So we're like already like amped up and ready for this game, but we've got to wait an extra few days. It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
You know, at least we have the Cowboys game, so we have some rooting interest tonight.
Cowboys are going to lose. I know it. They're going to lose. This is that time of year, guys. Romophobia has kicked in. It's in full swing.
I got to agree with you here. I'll tell you what, the temperatures are going to be, probably 30 degrees. It's in Chicago. I don't think that this is, a good game for the Cowboys to be going into the way that they're coming off that loss to the Eagles. And I kind of feel like at this point, the Bears, obviously, I mean, they need to win this game if they have any shot at staying alive in the playoff picture in the NFC. I mean, they're pretty much done at this point. But this is a big game for the Bears. I mean, they're playing in front of, national audience. They're going to be pumped up for the game. So I think that they're going to come out. And, Romo's going to throw his interceptions because it's December.
Oh, it's going to be a great night. I have off from work, so I could sit back, have a couple beers, and just laugh because the Cowboys, they're going to fuck up again. This is that, who knows? They might finish 8-8 just like they do every year.
That would be something.
That would be really awesome, And, and I hope they keep Jason Garrett for another year because then they could do it again.
Well, if Jerry Jones is, making the decisions, then he'll probably still be there.
It was great. Hearing Cowboys fans, they're like, well, this year's different. We're 6-1. We're running the ball now. We're not going to, no more Romophobia. It's over. No, we're going to win the East this year. I laugh.
I got to say that I'm still shocked that the Romo was just going down the way he was against the Eagles. Now that's something to keep an eye on tonight because there might be something wrong here with Romo's back if he's just going down and just laying on the ground and taking sacks like he was against the Eagles. Obviously, he's worried about something.
Or maybe he's just a bitch.
Well, we know that. I was surprised because I felt like that he was going to present a challenge for the Eagles because he's always very good at escaping pressure and extending the play, but he just wasn't able to do that at all. He would just go down and take the sack. So I think if he's doing that, I think that it actually really hurts the Cowboys' chances because I feel like that's a big part of their offense.
No, actually, I completely agree with you. I think there is something wrong. Not only because he was taking the sacks, but he was throwing a lot of ducks, a lot of wobblers, a lot of floaters. There was nothing behind his passes. There no crispness. It was these ducks, man. Awful. He just, yeah. There's something not right about him, and you know, they're not going to turn to the ginger Brandon Whedon or anything, but yeah, hey, hooray for us. Good thing he's hurt because yeah, he looks awful right now.
Yeah, he really does. So, with that said, I guess, for tonight's game, it looks like that we're both going to be going with the Bears.
Yeah, both going Bears. All right, so I got the schedule here. I am kind of pissed off because Sunday, my boss gave me a pretty big game on Sunday at 4:05. He gave me that Cardinals game, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to watch the Eagles game. It's a big Cardinals matchup against the Chiefs, but you know what? Fuck work. The Eagles are more important.
That's right. Exactly. That's the attitude I like.
I don't know how I'm going to pull it off because, I'm sure Gold's going to be in and he's going to give me shit for it.
Yeah, you'll be fine. He's only until like 5 o'clock. So.
All right, cool. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I'll have like it streaming online or something. I'll have to watch it that way.
Yeah.
All right. Rest of the games. Okay. St. Louis all right, we'll get the shitty games, quick rapid fire. St. Louis at Washington. I'm taking the Rams. The Redskins, for whatever reason, they're still starting Colt McCoy. I would think with a young guy like Griffin, you'd want to develop him, but they keep putting him on the bench. That organization just continues to amaze me with how dumb they are.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just a laughing stock right now with what's going on there in Washington. Rams are actually not a bad team. They've been some pretty decent opponents this year. So yeah, I like the Rams in that one.
Jets at Minnesota. The Jets coming off a game that, honestly, one of the worst Monday Night Football games I've ever seen. They ran the ball 49 times. They only threw it 13. So clearly they have no faith in Geno Smith to throw the ball. So going into Minnesota, Minnesota is actually a team that's like, I think they're like 5-7. So they're actually not too bad. So I'll take the Vikings. Teddy Bridgewater. He's going to find a way to win that game. This Jets team, Rex Ryan, he's already checked out. He's going to be, out in New York pretty soon.
Yeah, they should start checking Rex Ryan into a foot fetish institution because he's completely lost his mind. Obviously, he's only worried about rubbing his wife's feet at this point because he thinks that there's no way that the Jets should be 2-10. Well, I'll tell you what, the Jets should actually be 0-12. They're that bad. So yeah, Vikings win this one.
All right. Giants at Tennessee. Your Titans are going to win this one.
Oh wow, you think so?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Giants just lost to the Jaguars, so anything's possible.
This is a horrible game.
Yeah, there's bad ones this week.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty embarrassing for the Giants to blow a game to the Jaguars. Obviously, the Giants are just giving up on the season at this point, and they were checking out all the babes in that pool there at the Jaguars Stadium for the second half. So there'd be no babes at this game in any pools. So, you may be right about this one. I'm going to have to go with the Titans.
Oh, wow. So all of a sudden you just drastically changed your mind.
Yeah, well, I figured out why the Giants lost that game against the Jaguars. They were checking out the babes.
Oh. Houston at Jacksonville. Speaking of the Jaguars, Ryan Fitzpatrick coming off a game where he throws 6 touchdown passes. I'll take Houston. No way Jags win 2 in a row. No way.
Eventually, J.J. Watt is going to have to become an offensive player because he just keeps catching touchdown passes. So don't be surprised if he gets another one.
Oh, Tampa Bay at Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Lions. If the Lions lose that game, they don't deserve to make the playoffs.
No, not at all. All right, Pittsburgh. All right, we'll get to some better ones now. Well, this one's not so great, but NFC South, uh, division implications here. Carolina at New Orleans. I don't think we'll spend too much time on here either. Saints.
NFC South, the best division in the National Football League.
Yeah. Yeah.
There, this is pretty pathetic that we're, actually talking about, 5-17 that's tied for a division lead this late in the season. But yeah, it's the Saints, they're not losing that game at home, and it's pathetic that the Panthers are even in contention for that division.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that Panthers team is awful right now. Just real bad. I saw that, Vikings game last week. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. AFC North implications. Cincinnati right now, they could be on the verge, on the cusp of, wrapping this division up if they can win this one. And I think they will. Steelers are a team that's been up and down all year. I'm actually surprised that they have the record that they do. I don't think they're very good. I will take the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bengals too. The Steelers are just way too inconsistent this year. And with this game being in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati can really put a stranglehold on that division with this victory. So yeah, Bengals will do it.
All right, let's see what else we have here. Baltimore at Miami. Huge game here for, because right now there are 6, 7, and 5 teams tied for that number 6 seed in the AFC. That is just insane. Ravens, Dolphins. I'll take the Ravens. I like the Ravens in this one.
You're gonna stick with the Ravens. You're not gonna go swimming with the Dolphins.
No.
Yeah, the Ravens had a pretty heartbreaking loss there last week to the San Diego Superchargers. They stormed back and shocked the Ravens. Yeah, Dolphins really don't know how the hell they're 7-5 because they look pretty bad against the Jets. So yeah. I'm gonna go with the Ravens too.
All right, Indianapolis at Cleveland. Some controversy in Cleveland this week. Mm-hmm. Some guys wanted the money. Johnny Football starting quarterback, but Brian Hoyer was named the starter. He struggled his last couple games, but I think he's got to be the guy for them right now, at least for the rest of the season. He's gotten them to 7-5, so credit to him. Unfortunately, it's got to go up against Andrew Luck and the Colts. I like the Colts in this one, even though they're on the road.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure if I like how the Browns handled that situation there with the quarterback spot. I mean, it's kind of surprising that they benched Hoyer in that last game, and then after the game, and then on Monday, they say they're not sure yet who's going to be the quarterback. With the record that they have, you really just got to stick with the guy that's gotten you to that point. So the fact that they were even considering Johnny Football was interesting. I don't know if that was really the right move. So with that said, yeah, I think that the Colts win. I think there's some instability there with the Browns.
Yeah, agreed. Buffalo at Denver. Buffalo, this is a team, this is our only shot at us obtaining a number 1 seed. So, I might actually watch this game for a little bit until the Eagles start, because it starts at 4:05. See if they have a shot, see how they look. But Broncos all day in this one. The Bills aren't going to travel to Denver and win this one.
Yeah, Broncos.
San Francisco at Oakland. Oakland, once again, is the worst team in the NFL. 1 win on the season. The Jaguars are ahead of them on the pecking order. So, It's going to continue. They're not going to beat, San Francisco at home.
Oh boy. Let's see here. I'm actually gonna make a bold prediction.
Oh God.
The Raiders are gonna win this game.
Oh God.
I think so. I'm calling it. I think that this is it. I think that this is the downfall for the 49ers. I think they lose this game and they're not going to make the playoffs. Yeah, I'm going with it.
I will say this, that the Niners, they're in trouble right now. They're in big time trouble. They need to win out. That Seattle loss on Thanksgiving was just huge. To lose that game at home, because they play Seattle again, but obviously it's going to be in Seattle, and beating Seattle on the road is not easy. So, they've really dug themselves a hole. So it's going to be
They
tough to climb
they
out of.
dug themselves a black hole is what they did because the black hole does not allow tortoises into the stadium. So Kaepernick cannot bring his tortoise into the black hole. Don't make fun of the black hole. They're gonna take down the damn tortoises.
Kansas City at Arizona. This is the game that I have to cover on Sunday. Um, this is a tough one. Because both teams, they really need to win this game. The Chiefs are 7-5 now. That loss to Oakland the other week was detrimental, huge loss for their playoff chances. Arizona, just so many injuries. Man, I got nothing right now. I'll take the
Yeah.
Cardinals, I guess. That's a tough
Oh,
game.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals.
I think that the Chiefs do it. I think that they really need a bounce back game. They've kind of really haven't looked that great in the past few weeks, but I think that they're gonna win this one. I just think that the Cardinals are dealing with a ton of injuries right now,
Hmm.
and I mean they are gonna get Fitzgerald back. It looks like this week, but they've got a bunch of other injuries to Ellington, and they've got injuries along their offensive line, and so. Yeah, I'm gonna say that Jamal Charles has a big day. Chiefs win that one.
Yeah, I'm curious for our fan base. What do we want? Do we want them to win, or do we want them to lose? It's your first instinct might be, well, you want them to lose, but if you look at this upcoming schedule, they play at St. Louis, against Seattle at home in Week 16, and then at San Francisco. So, the thing we don't want Seattle to get that 3 seed. If say we beat Seattle, we don't want Seattle to win the division. I would much rather play Arizona than Seattle. Obviously, I think you would agree with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, uh, really, what you would want is you would need the Cardinals to end up beating Seattle there in week 16. That'll really be big because if they end up losing again to Seattle, it'll be 2 losses against Seattle, so Seattle would pretty much win that division. So yeah, we're probably definitely cheering for the Cardinals because we don't want the Seahawks to win that division.
Yeah. All right. Sunday night game is New England at San Diego. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's
8-4 Chargers, 9-3 Patriots. The Patriots. I'll tell you what, they looked good last week, even though they lost to Green Bay. The Green Bay's been freaking annihilating everybody at Lambeau, and the Patriots were able to hang around, and really testament to them. But this one's going to be tough. But I like the Patriots. They bounce back. They go to San Diego and they beat the Chargers at Qualcomm.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers in this one, but it's gonna be a good one.
All right. So we got a couple differences this week. I like it.
Yeah.
Monday night game, Atlanta at Green Bay. Atlanta play much better in a dome than they do on the road. That's for sure. Oh, Matty Ice. Matty Ice. He's
Hey,
not going to happen. Green Bay.
well, we're gonna have to be huge Atlanta Falcons fans Now, I don't know what it's going to take. We're going to have to say a lot of prayers, but maybe they could pull off a miracle. They're not going to do it, but maybe they could do it. Yeah, the Packers should roll in this one. The problem with that game for the Falcons is the Falcons defense is just absolutely horrible. Only way the Falcons win that game is if Aaron Rodgers comes down with an illness before the game and he's not able to play.
Yeah, yeah, completely agreed there. All right, so those are our picks. We've covered the Eagles game, covered all bases. Um, can't think of anything else to talk about, so this is final thoughts time.
Well, it is time for the final thoughts. And we haven't talked about food in a while, but
Hmm.
I think that we should talk about finish it off with a little bit of Pizza Hut talk because Pizza Hut has redone their whole entire menu. I mean, it's been a complete overhaul. They've got all different new kinds of pizzas that they come up with, new recipes, specialty pizzas. I didn't even know this until yesterday, but they even actually upgraded their breadstick selection too. They have all different kinds of breadsticks now. And I had these breadsticks yesterday. They were like some kind of cheesy breadsticks, and oh wow! I'll tell you what, they had to be like just like 1,000 calories in itself because they were so good. But we actually, what pizza did we try last week?
Oh God, it was like a Jack G something. It had
Yeah,
like it had meatballs, chicken, and bacon on it. It was and like a buffalo drizzle, and it was outstanding.
yeah, it was really good. So I gotta say that I think that you know Pizza Hut hit this one out of the ballpark with their new menu here. I really like it. For a while there, they had the same old menu, and they really needed something to revamp their sales because they were down in the dumps for a while. I mean, I remember back in the day when we were kids, there used to be Pizza Huts all over the place, and the best was the dine-in Pizza Huts. I mean, that's rare anymore that you find one of those.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, those breadsticks. I had one of those bad boys. Oh my God. Approaching better than sex category.
Yeah, and the crazy part was that even I still had a few left by the end of the night, but they were still as good as they were hot when I got them by the end of the night. So it's just really good. So yeah, I mean that's our Pizza Hut talk. I had to get that in, but boy, I can't go there again tonight. I can't do it.
Just once a week, huh? That's like what I am right now. Fast food once a week. More than that, it's too much. I'm too fat. You're like this skinny little puke, so it's not fair.
Yeah, I know. I really got to cut down on my fast food. I like go there like once a day. It's bad.
Once a day.
Bad. Well, every time I go into work, I freaking get
Yeah,
something.
yeah. You always get you're BK, man. You've been on a BK
Yeah,
binge for the last couple months.
I know. I've had to like abandon BK for a little bit.
Hmm.
They need to come up with something new that excites me.
Oh man. So yeah, yeah, BK. You were liking the Big King for a while.
Yeah, I was liking the Big King, but after a while, it gets old. They kind of come out with some, and new things recently. Well, old things, but they brought them back. But like the Italian chicken sandwich, it's actually pretty good. But um, I guess I've just been in a pizza mode recently.
Well, with that overhaul of the menu and the fact that they have breadsticks and, Pizza Hut is the best, fast food in my opinion, but it's also the worst in terms of how you feel. Because every time I have Pizza Hut, I am just down in the dumps. Just, you feel like shit.
Oh, No, yeah, you definitely do. I felt the effects once I got home from work last night.
Oh man. All right. Well, that was your final thought today.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what we did forget to talk about? Mark Sanchez going up against his old coach, Pete Carroll.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. We did forget to talk about that. It's been so long. We kind of forgot about that. But that'll be interesting. I don't want to see Mark Sanchez throwing the ball a lot in this game. I just man, I have nightmares thinking about him throwing against Richard Sherman.
Yeah, hopefully they can establish the running game, get it going early, and often because yeah, we don't want Sanchez to throw the ball more than 30 times like he has been. Didn't throw it. What did he throw? Yeah, 29 times against Dallas.
29.
So that's
Yeah,
pretty much what we want.
yeah, definitely, exactly right. Limit them to 30 throws, and we should be fine if we can get the ground game going. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be a battle. It's the Seahawk versus the Ball Eagle. So we'll see who comes out on top. But it could be a big statement win for the Eagles if they can pull it out.
All right, there you go. That's our show for today. We covered all bases. So hope you guys enjoyed it. That's Mike Owens. I'm Adrian Fetke. Go Birds, and hopefully Romophobia kicks in tonight.
See ya.
Later.